We're continuing on Shulchan Aruch Orach Chaim, and we're up to Siman Resh Ayin Vav, the halachot that are important to know for every single Jew, and perhaps are less known. People know that you cannot tell a goy to do what you can't do on Shabbat. Amira la'akum, which is shvut, we all know about. What's less known and goes parallel with Amira la'akum is hana'a mima'aseh akum, benefiting from a job that was done by a goy for a Jew, which you cannot benefit from on Shabbat in general sense. And those halachot are tucked away in Siman Resh Ayin Vav in Shulchan Aruch Orach Chaim, which we're going to start studying about them today. So writes the Shulchan Aruch, this is really a sugya that starts in Masechet Shabbat, Daf Kuf Chaf Bet, Amud Aleph, Eno Yehudi she'idlik et haner b'shvil Yisrael, asur lakol afilu lemí shelo hudlak b'shvilo. If a Gentile lights a candle, lights a ner, a light for a Jew, no Jewish person could benefit from that in the world. It's not just the Reuben, the Shimon that the light was turned on for, but even a stranger that comes from outside cannot benefit from that light. Ve'en chiluk bazeh ben im katzav or lo sachar or lo katzav. Doesn't make a difference if he's getting paid, he's not getting paid. Even if he's not getting paid or he's getting paid, it doesn't make a difference. You can benefit, you cannot benefit from the job that was done for a Jew. The ho'il va'Yisrael ne'eneh memelacha atzma b'Shabbat asur b'chol inyan. It will be asur in every given scenario. Aval im hidliko lesorko, but if he does it for his own benefit, the goy, or lesorech chole Yisrael, or for something that's mutar. For instance, you have a sick individual that's mutar to ask a goy to directly to do something for him. So that is an act that is mutar. Even a chole shem bo sakana, you still could ask a goy to light fire, to light a ner. Then it will be mutar for the other Jews to benefit from that light as well. Even if he did it for sorech ktanim. Like, we generally speaking assume that minors, little kids, when it's cold, it's considered sakana for them. It's considered, it's like a chole, not sakana, but it's like chole shem bo sakana. And therefore, you could ask a goy to do things for sorech av ketanim as well. And once you do it in a mutardike way, then you could benefit from it, even if you're not the person that it was done for. Then mutar lechol Yisrael leishtamesh leoro. All the Jews could use that light. Ve'hu adin leoseh medura lesorko o lesorech chole. And the same would be for medura. Now, before we get into the bonfire, the general reason for this is because if Chazal were concerned that if we let you benefit from a melacha that was done by a goy, we're going to then start hinting and asking them. It would not, the whole thing of Amira la'akum would not stand. So therefore, Chazal instituted as part of this Isur that not only you can't ask them to do it, but even if they did it on their own, but it was done for you, then you cannot use it either. Now, what do you do if you have a crowd? It's multiple people, it's not just yourself. There are multiple people who are there, and the goy did it as his job. Let's say he's a hotel. You want to go get a cup of hot water from the hotel, right? He didn't do it for you. He did it for whoever comes. So maybe that's you also, right? Is it mutar? Is it asur? Well, it really depends. If you're in a regular setting, in a regular hotel, the majority of the attendance, unless it's in Eretz Yisrael, it will be goyim. So it goes after the majority of the people who was done for, and therefore it will be mutar. If it's in Eretz Israel, in a Jewish neighborhood, or let's say you have a Pesach hotel, or a Jewish Shabbaton somewhere, and the Goy is doing it, so then of course the majority of the people are Jews, so then it will be Asur. Same scenario would be Asur. Unless, of course, the Goy also has skin in the game, so to speak, and he is benefiting from it also. So he wants to have his coffee, and he is just boiling turning on the boiler in order to have his own coffee. And then there's 1,000 Jews on a Pesach program. The fact that he's doing that one act, which benefits himself and 1,000 other people, we don't say we go after the majority, because a person, when he needs something himself, they are the ikar. So therefore, it will be mutar in that case. But if you have the guy himself is not part of it, he doesn't want a coffee, right? But there are, 5 of his friends as the hotel staff. He's doing it for them and for the 1,000 other Jews. That's not mutar already. It's only himself that is, is considered. When you do something for yourself, that's considered you're the ikar. All the other people are tafel. As that would be the halacha, the basic gist of this halachot. So says the Mishna Berura, it's not just lighting candles or lighting the light. Any melacha, anything that would be asur for the Jew to do, if the Goy did it on his own for the Jew to benefit the Jew, is asur for any Jew to benefit from that job over the course of Shabbat. And it's a isur midrabanan, because as we explained before, if it would be mutar to benefit, then you're going to end up with a scenario that the Jew is going to actually ask the Goy to do things for him, right? Now, this doesn't make a difference if the Goy did it for a frum Jew or a non-frum Jew. Even if he did it for a non-frum Jew, for an atheist Jew, mumar, completely not religious at all, not connected, not affiliated, still will be asur, right? That doesn't make much of a difference, right? Yes?
Wouldn't that be shvut to shvut? Like,
no.
asking a non-Jew is already midrabana. So now you're creating a fence around the midrabana?
Correct.
Isn't that double stringency?
Yeah, that's still, shvut to shvut is still asur. Shvut to shvut is only mutar in certain scenarios. When you have makom choli or lot asar, or you have makom mitzvah, then you have scenarios in which shvut to shvut, the double drabanan, is mutar, right? But here is the very essence of it is part of the gezerah of amira la'akum, right? Now, says the Mishna Berura, when the Rama over here adds, "Ve'en chiluk bazeh ben katzav lo schar or no." Now, afilu lemi lo hudlak lo, even for a person that this was not done for him specifically. The Mishna Berura says this is not like someone that a Goy brought you a package from outside the tchum, right? Imagine on Shabbat you receive a package. We spoke about these halachot at length towards the beginning of the Hilchot Shabbat, and later on also we're going to discuss it in Siman Shin Chaf Hei. There is different, because the halachot of tchumin is the Rabbanan, and all the Isurei Rabbanan, if the Goy did it for a Jew, right, for other people is mutar to use it, right? If a Goy does a melachat Rabbanan for me, you could benefit from it, I can't. But if he does something d'oraita, he lights a fire for me. So or cooks something for me, right? Cooks something that has to be not bishul akum, of course, right? Then other people could benefit from it because it was not done for them per se. Now, says the Mishna Berura, Lechol Israel, in Ot Zayin, if you take a look there, it says, Mutar lechol Israel l'ishtamesh toro, if it's done for a sick person or for a minor who is in a lot of pain, then it's mutar to use it for everyone. Here, you can't say, well, he may come to tell the goy to do it. Of course, you could tell a goy to do it, even lechatchila, because again, this is a amira lakum, which is shvud, b'makom sorech of a chole, which would be b'makom choli lo gazru rabbanan. Says the Mishna Berura, well, this is the part that we skipped actually in the Shulchan Aruch, so we're going to go back. The second scenario the Shulchan Aruch brings is for a bonfire. That not only you could have a goy light a fire, light a ner, a candle for the sick person or for the ktanim, but that if a goy does a bonfire for himself, he wants to warm himself up, he makes a fire nicely sitting around the fire, or does it for a sick person, would be mutar to use it, says the Shulchan Aruch, but that is debatable, because there are those who disagree. V'yesh osrim b'medura mishum dekazna shema yarbe b'shvilo, because whereas a ner, a source of light, so is sufficient for one person, two people, three people, it doesn't make a difference. If you have enough light in a room, right? If you have one person in the room or you have 100 people in the room, ner le'echad, ner le'ma'a is the same thing. But by fire is not the same thing necessarily. If you're warming one person in a little small fire, he keeps his body and his thing over it, that's fine. If you have 5 people, it's very different. You need a much larger fire for a medura, and therefore, if additional people sit by it, we're worried that the goy is going to add now for them, for these Jews that came now to warm themselves up. You know, one person is just the goy himself. He doesn't have to be really fancy. You could just do a little fire, and that suffices. But if you have a whole crowd coming, then he's going to be embarrassed to share that little thing. It's not enough. It's going to bring more wood, and that is the concern, which drives some of the Rishonim, like Shibboleh Leket, the Tur brings us already, in the name of Rabbi Rutam, that it will be Asur. Mishum de Gazdinan Shema Yarbe, because we are concerned he may come to add for the new additional people that come, and therefore it would be Asur. So that's what the Ramah writes, and the Shulchan Aruch writes over here. One last piece in the Ramah, he adds, Mihu im asayro Yehudi bebet Yisrael midato, ena Yisrael sarich latzet, af al pi shenehene min haner o min hamedura. If a goy came and did something on his own, you have to go out of the house? You don't have to go out of the house. He came, it was pitch black, no light, and the goy turned on the light for the sorach of the Jew. Now, you have to leave the house because now you can see? No, you don't have to leave the house. You can stay, but you can't do activities that you could not have done otherwise. For instance, you can't just now pick up a sefer and read because you couldn't read before. Now, this actually brings us to another halacha which is important, and that is, if you could have done that activity, even though that it was not pleasant, but you could have done it, then it will be mutar. In other words, if you have, let's say, a little night light in your office, so it sheds some light, you could, if you want to read something, you could. It's hard, you could. And now the maid comes and says, the Baal Bayit wants to learn after, what do you got to do for 5 hours after the winter dinner? You're going to learn, of course you're going to learn. So she's going to say, Hasva Shalom is going to be Bitul Torah for the rabbi. She turns on the right. What can you do? So if it was pitch black, you can't sit in the office and learn. But if you had a little light, a little desk light, a little night light even, and you could have learned in that light, even though it was hard, it's not easy, and now it's mamash gishmak, thousands of watts of luminance, still mutar. Still mutar because you didn't tell her to do it, she did it on her own, and it's not considered benefiting because I could have done it without you. Even though that would be very difficult to do it without you, but I could have done it without you, and therefore it will be mutar to use that light, despite the fact that now it's much easier and much more convenient, and that would be the halacha as well. There are many details here that we have not covered yet, and B'ezrat Hashem will come back to this, discussing it and concluding this seif in the days to come. Hazak Baruch.